Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today's video is just going to be a short little, not really in a hive, but these things are still important to talk about. Just little tips that I think more people struggle with than we think, and we definitely would have struggled with this if we're not going to do it today. So we're going to talk about it. But one of the things that we like to do in our outyards is do pallets. So a lot of people like to do stands, which are great, and that's what we have had. But I've noticed that they tend to fall over for some reason at our house. So we use pallets a lot now. So I'm gonna talk about what we use and what we do to keep from water getting in and all that fun stuff. So today we're setting up a new yard, and I wanna do this today because it's not very, here in Missouri, we have just, the ground is kind of dumb and we don't have anywhere flat in this yard, but it's a good spot. So what we're having to do today is drill holes in these pallets because, especially with this spot specifically right here, because if it rains at all and then it's just going to come in through this entrance here and then flood right in their bottom board, which is not good. So what we're doing is we're just drilling holes. So I just drilled 2 holes in the back here, just one back here and here. So there's 8 holes total on each pallet. So I know, well, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I am just a girl, so I don't really know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is a 5/8 drill bit, and I'm just drilling a hole in the corner here. It won't affect the bees whatsoever. These hives, any of our outyards, I try to keep them as strong as we can. And the home yard's kind of more of our sick spot. So they should be strong enough. These holes aren't gonna bother them at all. You just drill a hole, it's super easy, and it takes just a couple seconds. Yeah, just like that. And then you usually blow it, but I'm not gonna do that on camera because I did that earlier and I literally inhaled it. So I just do that on both corners, which is gonna help them out a ton, I promise. So I would really recommend doing this if you're gonna do pallets. That's it. So we're just gonna do that on all of these pallets here. And if you've never seen what these pallets are, let me show you. Now you can use just a normal pallet like this one right here. We just set them on top of these because what I really like about these ones is they have these clips here. Especially for us when we're looking to go to the almonds and, well, hopefully in a few 100 years, I don't know. These clips are really nice for that reason. So if you're wanting to transport these or whatever it is, or even just with weather in general, and you've got a little bit of lighter hives, these make it to where they kind of clip in here. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I've got just a couple frames in here because I'm going to be moving nukes over today. But I did want to show that it doesn't affect the frames whatsoever because these are really thin. But you just slide the box right on top of it, so then this can't move. And then it doesn't bother these frames at all also. So those can just go flush to the back there and it's not gonna have a problem. So they're really great because it's a built-in bottom board, and bottom boards get to be expensive. So I believe you're also saving money with these. And I just like the setup on them too because you can face them going opposite directions and then work in between them. So they make everything seem a little bit more efficient, which I really like them. So that's what we're using in this yard and most of our yards anyways. But I'm just gonna keep drilling holes in the back here. So let's do a couple more here. It's something really simple and it only takes a couple of seconds. We are right off the road here, which I know some people will talk about theft, and if that's a problem, I'll let you know because I've never actually had, I don't think we've had bees this close to the road before. I would usually recommend having them a little bit more in the back, in the corner somewhere. We did kind of tuck them in back here. Just like thinking about the wind, traffic, and everything about that is really important when it comes to a new yard. Just making sure that it's the right spot, and then also just the small things like this to make sure you're not getting water in there. Now I do know we've had some friends have had problems with theft, but we'll see what happens anyways. Now there is a gate here that has a lock on it, but you never know. It's not like it's completely locked in, so we'll see if something ends up happening here. But there's just all these little things to a new yard that most people don't really talk about, so I want to talk about that today a little bit. But if you're looking into doing pallets, I would really recommend it because they're one of my favorite things to use. But the reason why we set them on these pallets here is just to lift them off the ground a little bit, because like I talked about rain here, it is going to get a little muddy, and it also just kind of brings them off of the ground a little bit. I know people talk about whether it's okay to have your bees on the ground. I have like 90% of our hives on the ground, and I haven't had a problem with it. So I would say it's okay, but that's here in Missouri, so I'm not totally sure where else it would be all right with. But putting them on these pallets just helps a little bit instead of doing all of these stands. And those can get expensive and also a lot of time consuming when it comes to making those. And I don't know why, but here in Missouri, the wind always tends to be bad enough that we have to strap them down or something. There we go. I actually have seen stuff that bees like sawdust. I don't know what it is about that, but I'll actually clean it up, don't worry. Another short thing I want to talk about is about animals, because some people, I mean, they're not going to put their bees in anywhere close to animals, which I completely understand, but either way, you're going to have issues with skunks, raccoons, or whatever it is. We usually have issues with skunks, and they go at the front of the entrance and they just start like pulling bees apart. You'll know because there'll be shredded bees at the front of your entrance. They usually just rip them into two. And one of the things about this yard actually is there is horses in this area right here. I'm not sure if they can, I don't think they can actually get into this spot right here, but if they're reaching over or whatever it is, I've never had problems with horses. I've never had anybody that's told me they've had problems either. Now, of course, they could knock them over, but I don't think they would. I know cows can be an issue, but I do have a guy, Paul Landsberg, that has his literally in the exact same spot with cows, and he said he's never really had a problem. Of course, there's always that possibility they're going to go over there and knock them over. Now, the one thing I will say that we've had a problem with, which I didn't think we would, is goats. Those things are so stupid, and they'll jump over everything and they'll jump on top of everything. And when you have little, like small pronukes like that, those things tip over so easily. So we had them kind of tucked in a different yard, and they all get knocked over from those goats. So can't really do small hives and nukes with goats, but they do perfectly fine with like singles or doubles on pallets. But that's the one thing I've noticed about those. I don't know what else out there. Those are the few things I've kind of experienced with bees in there, but other than that, the animals seem to do pretty good. I think there's one specific one that always messes them up, but I don't know which one it is. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and move all of these pronukes into singles today, build them up a little bit, put some brood in there because they are a little light, and continue to keep splitting. And I think that's pretty much it for today. So it's always exciting putting a new yard in, and these are just some small tips that I have if you want to do a new yard or an out yard. It does kind of suck having an out yard because you have to pack all your stuff up and then take it, but I honestly prefer an out yard. I don't know what it is. I think I get more motivated to do that instead of stay at home. Anyways, I think that's it. So thanks for watching today's video. Follow along for more bee adventures, and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.